Hi, everybody. This is Nathan Weens, the Apprentice Nutrition Detective. Today is Sunday, November 20th, 2022. And this is testing update number 2. So just had some hair and blood testing done, and we're going to go over that today, see how I'm doing. All right. So to start with, I want to talk about what my current regimen is, what I'm doing right now, so you have an idea of kind of where I'm at, and then we'll get into the actual test results. So I haven't made a lot of changes recently. The only kind of major change that I've made is based on Dr. Smith's advice and what he's been talking about in the inner circle and some on his live streams. I'm taking a tablespoon of activated charcoal with just a pinch of sun fiber. I've been doing that for about a week now. Well, I've been doing the charcoal for about 2 weeks. I've been putting in a pinch of sun fiber for about a week. And that seems to be helping. I haven't noticed any problems with it. Hasn't affected my bowel movements at all. I'm still, pooping pretty well. No constipation problems. It does seem to be helping a bit with the reflux that I suffer from time to time. So seems to be doing its job. I usually do that at bedtime. Uh, so the rest of my regimen, my um, supplements, I take about 600 milligrams of potassium gluconate. This is in the morning. Take about 600 milligrams of potassium gluconate, 150 micrograms of molybdenum, and then 2 bifidobacterium. And in addition, I do about 26 sprays of Magcahol. I wanted to go ahead and bring my bottle just so you can see. See, it's got the trigger one, so they're kind of bigger sprays, and then it'll squirt the pump push down one. So it actually may be closer to 35 or 40 sprays. But I like it. It's working well. I haven't had any issues with it. So that's what I do in the mornings. In the evenings, after dinner, I will take one lactoferrin. At one point, I was taking two, but decided to back off, not because it caused any issues, but because it was getting kind of expensive to do two a day. So, finances are can be a consideration as well. I also take 2 keystone minerals, so that's 300 micrograms of selenium, 300 micrograms of molybdenum, and then 60 milligrams of zinc. And I also take an additional 30 milligrams of zinc, so I'm taking a total of 450 micrograms of molybdenum a day and 90 milligrams of zinc a day. So those are pretty high dosages. So I did have some requests on the network to talk, one about the molybdenum, about the increase and I'd talked about this before in a previous video about how I was doing the extra molybdenum to help with some kind of lingering athlete's foot. I'm not entirely sure if it's athlete's foot. It's not really itchy, but certainly very dry, thick skin on my left foot. I took the molybdenum for about a month. It seemed to improve a little bit, or didn't notice much change. I stopped for about a month and then restarted about a month ago. I haven't noticed a whole lot of change with the skin on my foot, other than I am still seem to have some big pieces of skin that rub off from time to time. But the skin underneath seems to be doing pretty well. So it may just be some old stuff that's finally coming loose. Um, the one real advantage of the molybdenum that I found was when I started taking it again, I noticed improvement in my sleep. I was able to sleep. I wasn't waking up in the middle of the night with bile dumps and being up for a couple of hours. So it's helped me in that sense. And if I do have to get up to use the bathroom, I'm usually able to go right back to sleep. And so it's been helping in that sense. Haven't noticed any side effects or any indications of molybdenum toxicity. The other thing that somebody asked about was diet, because I talked about wanting to maybe try to find some ways to lose some additional weight. And if you didn't see Dr. Smith's live stream on Friday, I highly recommend it. It was a really good one. He actually talked about weight loss and some issues and cited a study that showed that if you lose weight too quickly, one of the places that toxins get stored is in fat cells. It's one of its functions is to store toxins. So by losing weight too quickly, you either, well, a combination of things. One, those toxins tend to get sent back into your bloodstream, which can cause you to feel bad. But then they either get shoved right back into the liver, making things worse for your liver, or they get concentrated in the remaining fat cells. So the moral of the story, at least as I understood it, is that if you focus on dealing with the toxicity and eventually the toxins are then get recycled or moved out of those fat cells, that it's going to be either easier to lose weight or those fat cells are going to shrink up on their own. So I don't know if that's the case. We'll see how things go. But I guess the advice is don't try to focus less on the goal of losing weight and simply focus on your detox, and the weight loss hopefully will come in its own time when it can. Now, one of the things that occurred to me was that there's other stuff that I can do, in terms of increasing my physical activity and focusing on my physical fitness rather than weight loss per se. The idea being that if I make myself as fit as I am capable of being, then probably some of that weight's going to come off anyway, and I'm going to be healthier in the process. And then when my body is ready to get rid of that excess fat, I've got more lean muscle mass to help with that process. So that would be one suggestion that I would offer. And so I'm going to focus on increasing my physical activity. It's challenging, but there are ways that I can do it. I've done it in the past and I know I can do it again. So that's going to be my focus in terms of weight loss. I'm also going to be focusing on making sure that I'm eating more cleanly, that I'm doing the low vitamin A diet more appropriately. So really focusing on my protein intake, and that being kind of the main part of what I do. That being the main focus of what I eat. And we'll see how that goes. In the past, I've noticed that if I eat a lot of grains, I tend to gain weight. If I don't eat as many grains, I tend to not gain weight or even lose weight. So that's another focus for me, is probably either cutting way back or actually cutting out grains. We'll see how that goes. So that's I think that's pretty much it for the preliminaries. So let's go ahead and get into the tests and talk about how I'm doing and what's going on. So let me share my screen. All right, so made a little Excel spreadsheet of my blood tests. Let's see, we've got retinol. I don't know why it capitalized that vitamin, because it's not. But in any case, vitamin A, copper, zinc, ferritin, and then I also tested testosterone and estradiol. I haven't tested these before, so these are kind of baseline numbers. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the retinol. So you see I've got optimal ranges here. Optimal range for retinol is less than 20, I think. Actually, I saw on one it's less than 19.6. In any case, back in May, it was 62.5, which is quite high. It's gone down to 55.2, so I've actually dropped by 7.3, which I'm very happy about. Haven't been as strict with the diet as I could have been, but I've done enough to drop my vitamin A. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see it go down even more. Eventually I'll get to the plateau, but hopefully not for a while, because I'd like it to be lower before I actually hit that plateau. Copper. So optimal range 75 to 90. My previous one in May was 94. This time it was 85, so it's gone down 9 points, and I'm actually in what Dr. Smith considers an optimal range, at least as it stands right now. My suspicion is that's going to drop some as he becomes a little more sure about copper being just a toxin. But for the time being, it's at least dropping, which is what I'm pleased about. So zinc, optimal range is 100 to 135. Before it, in May, it was 92, but I had taken my zinc supplements the night before. I'd forgotten to stop them. So this is probably a little higher than it should have been. This time it was 85, so not quite as high and still below optimal range, but my guess is it was probably about the same as last time, or maybe even a little bit higher. Something else to bear in mind about this blood zinc is that what Dr. Smith told me is that the plasma zinc is the optimal one. It's much more accurate than the serum zinc. However, when I went to LabCorp, they were out of the vials where that they did the plasma zinc in, and just weren't able to do it, and they've been out for a long time, so they ended up doing a serum zinc. So this one may be a little less accurate. Not so concerned about that, but it's not high, which, given the fact that I'm taking 90 milligrams of zinc a day, pretty good indication that I'm still doing okay. I'm not taking too much zinc. So ferritin, this is the one that I thought was particularly interesting. So optimal range is 30 to 70. In May, my number was 877. Dr. Smith told me that was probably the highest that he'd ever seen, or at least was one of the highest he'd ever seen. I don't know if that's a distinction or not, but it is what it is. So I've done 3 blood donations since then, during that time, and it dropped to 515. So it's gone down 362 points. The interesting thing about this is that typically we expect between a 30 and 50 point drop per blood donation of the ferritin. So with 3 blood donations, you would expect about 120 point drop. This is obviously a lot more than that. So this is a good example that if you do the Love Your Liver program and get your minerals correct, the ferritin will fix itself. So getting my zinc up. I think molybdenum is also helping. I think magnesium also can help with that. So I think it's zinc and molybdenum that are two of the primary drivers on that, but it may be magnesium. I don't remember which M it is. Anyway, so that's way down, a lot more than I expected, and I'm very pleased with that. Obviously, I still have a long way to go, but it's a good number. I'm happy with that. So testosterone and estradiol, as far as I can recall, I've never had these tested before, so I'm considering these baseline numbers. Even though I've been doing this for about 9 months, so I don't know what they were before, and unfortunately, I'll never know. So I just got to start from where I'm at. So the 264 to 916 for testosterone and the 7.6 to 42.6 for the estradiol, those are LabCorp's normal ranges. And I know Dr. Smith has talked about this a lot on live streams and other places, that basically the normal ranges are 95% of the people that are tested. So they're not necessarily healthy ranges. They're just what the vast majority of people, where their numbers are. So they change all the time. And they're not helpful, but I haven't found, and I don't remember Dr. Smith giving an optimal range for either testosterone or estradiol. So I got to stick with those for now. Obviously, higher is better for men with testosterone. We all need some estrogen, which is what estradiol is, but it needs to not be too high. So my testosterone is 185, so it's low. No other way around it. It's quite low even for the normal ranges. So if I'd gotten this test result a couple of years ago or before I found Dr. Smith's work, I might have considered doing hormone replacement therapy or some testosterone replacement therapy. Now I know I don't have to. So I just need to keep working the program, and that's most likely going to come up on its own. So I'd love to get to the point where Dr. Smith is, where he's almost 900. It may take me a few years. I know it took him a while. So I would call this room for improvement. Estradiol numbers are kind of right in the middle of the range. At least the good news there is it's not real high. So I don't eat, I've never really eaten a lot of soy products or other estrogenic stuff. So it's a pretty good indication that at least that's okay. So, all right. So moving on to my hair test. So this is my hair test from May. Normally what you would see is, well, here's the new one. Normally you'd see previous figures here. There's a reason why I have two different tests, but I'm not going to go into that right now. It's not important. But I did want to kind of show these side by side, just to sort of show you where I'm at. So calcium last time was 38. This time it's 64, so it's actually gone up. Optimal range is 40 to 42, so I went from a little bit below optimal range to above it. Interesting thing is my magnesium has also increased. See, before it was 8.5, now it's 9.4 or 9.8. So you'll find that the calcium and the magnesium tend to move together. Magnesium is protective of the calcium, so the fact that I've had increased calcium, I think my body may be mobilizing some because I'm using a lot more magnesium than I was. I think a lot of the calcifications, I've had some tendonitis and some other stuff. I think that's getting moved, and some of that's coming out, which is a good thing. There's still some other stuff I can do. I didn't get as much sun this summertime as I'd like. I actually just got a Spurdy um, um, sun lamp, tanning lamp. So I'm gonna focus on getting some more sun or some more UVB so I can produce some more vitamin D and hopefully also help with that. But I think the magnesium jump is because of the calcium jump. So the magnesium is protective of the calcium, so it's gone up in response to the calcium most likely. Sodium, I'm not too worried about. Potassium is about the same as it was before. The one before, it's up a little higher. You can actually kind of see it. Not that's that important. Copper's 3.1. Last time it was 2.2. So it's also gone up. I think this is, I think I dumped some copper. I think this is a detox dump here. I cut my hair about every three weeks or so. As you can see, it's about a quarter of an inch long, so it's not very long. And I've noticed over the last few weeks that my mood's been a little bit better. Even though it's been a little extra stressful at work, I've been handling it without any problems, and I've just kind of generally been feeling better. So I think I dumped some copper, and now that's based on the blood test. It's probably down from where it was before. Zinc, I'd mentioned that I'm taking a fair amount of zinc. I'm taking 90 milligrams a day. My zinc is 19. It was 17 last time, and phosphorus was 14 last time, and it's 17 this time. So my zinc has gone up. But it's still within the normal range. It's on the higher side of normal, or the higher side of optimal. Dr. Smith wants zinc 18 to 20 and phosphorus anything over 14. So the increased zinc is showing up. It's still not showing up in my blood work. So I'm not too worried about taking as much zinc as I am. If these numbers were really high and my blood zinc was high as well, then I would probably taper off. But zinc is really important for detox, and I've got a long way to go. So I think I'm going to keep everything as it is for now in terms of my zinc. Magnesium, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. So let's see. Iron, 0.9. Before it was 0.8. So, Dr. Smith wants it between 0.5 and 1. So it's still in the good range. My ferritin obviously is still high, but I'm doing okay with that, so I don't need to worry too much about that. Manganese, chromium, I'm not too worried about. Selenium, optimal range is between 0.10 and 0.15. Mine's 0.11, so it's in a good range. I'm not taking too much of that. Boron we don't test. Cobalt I'm not worried about. Molybdenum, optimal range is 4 to 8. And mine's 7, so it's still on kind of the higher side of normal, but not too high yet. So given the improvement in my sleep, I'll probably continue to take the higher amount, at least for the time being. If I notice any side effects or symptoms of toxicity, then I can back off. Sulfur, not too worried about. Obviously, the big one here in the toxic elements is the uranium. It's gone up since the last time. It was 188 before, and now it's 346. So I'm on well water, so I'll probably have to get that checked. Obviously, we've got a uranium issue here. I mean, living in the Pacific, in the inland Northwest, long history of mining in the area, which is one of the reasons why uranium tends to be high in groundwater. Um, Now, I have a reverse osmosis filter for the water I drink, but I haven't gotten around to getting a shower filter yet. I'll probably go ahead and do that, which should help with that. Eventually, I'd love to get a whole house filter, but it's a little expensive at this point. So I'm gonna have to hold off on that. My arsenic is, or yeah, my arsenic is down. I think it was 1.0 or 0.10 before. Now it's 4. So I've, don't really eat a whole lot of rice. I eat it once in a while, but not very often. Beryllium's about what it was. My mercury is actually down a little bit. I don't really eat fish or shellfish. I did have a tuna sandwich from Subway a couple weeks ago, but apparently it didn't affect me that much. Cadmium, lead's down. Aluminum is actually up a little bit. It was 0.3 and now it's 0.5. So that's something I'm going to need to look at and figure out what I can do to minimize exposure. Let's see. That's about it. I'm not too worried about these. The strontium is up a little bit, just like the calcium, but they match pretty well. So that's a pretty good indication that I don't have a whole lot of hard water contamination, that this calcium is probably fairly accurate. Notice that it's kind of halfway between this green section here and the green line, and this one's a little closer to that blue line in the middle. So there might be just a little bit of hard water. So this may be, this may be down around around 57 rather than 64. But it has gone up since last time. So that's the only thing I'm really focused on with that. The rest I'm not so concerned about. The ratios, the only one to really be worried about, or only one to focus on, is the CalMag ratio, 6.53. It's actually gone up a little bit since last time, which was 4.47. Optimal range for CalMag ratio is 3 to 7. And okay range would be 7 to 11. So it's up from last time, but it's still within the optimum range, just kind of on the higher side of the optimal range. The other ratios we don't need to worry about. Toxic ratios are useless, and all these don't matter. So that's basically it. I've made some progress. I am feeling better. The great thing about testing is that it'll help me kind of focus on stuff that I really need to, focus on, such as my testosterone. Find some other natural ways, not necessarily natural substances, but things like lifting more weights, because I know that increases testosterone, basically getting in better physical shape. Stop the share here. Getting in better physical shape will help with my testosterone, particularly lifting weights. So I'll do more of the kettlebell exercises, which I really like. May end up doing some other stuff as well, some more calisthenics, push-ups, sit-ups, that kind of stuff. And do what I can to improve that number. But I know that as I become less toxic, that's also going to improve it. So that's pretty much all I got. Next week is Thanksgiving, so I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. You've got family and friends to spend time with. If not, give me send me a message on the network, and I'll be happy to wish you a personal happy Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays, and it's a big one in my wife's family and as well as mine. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm going to take a little time off from work this week, so that's going to be nice as well. All right, I'll do another health update in a couple of weeks, and hopefully I'll have some more good news, and I'll try not to overdo it over the holiday. Anyway, everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, send me comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Send me comments on the network. If you haven't joined the Love Your Liver Network, I highly recommend you do so. It will change your life. And I would also highly recommend considering buying a testing and consultation package with either Dr. Smith or myself. And we can help you get on track and stay on track. All right. Take care. I'm out. Bye.